Hey YouTube, I'm Kenneth Ryan.
I'm Linz Resop.
And we're back with another exciting episode of Fanfiction Friday, where we are continuing to read Clockwork. We are so close to the end. We are starting chapter 54 today, and there's only 59 chapters, so we are like, we're there. We're going to just jump right into this because we kind of gotta, and they've been long, so we're prepping for length. Again, the mouse is broken, haven't replaced it yet, kind of a POS, sorry. But
it's not like it's that bad.
I just lean in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm close.
I can be close too.
It's intimate. Oh my god, look, you can tell my eyebrows are just not my hair color. I mean, obviously that's the point, but...
Well, if they're watching, that's kind of close talking. If they're watching this, they've seen it from before, hopefully. Maybe.
Alright.
And if you want to jump in at chapter 54, why not? You haven't missed anything.
You've missed a lot, actually.
Yeah. 3 arcs.
3 different arcs have happened by the time you're jumping in.
Hairs. There we go.
Okay. Why the fuck do I have to do this?
Because it was your idea. Suck it up, princess. Green snapped, hands fully gloved and his slender eyebrows pinched in concentration, irritable as he went about cleaning their messes from last night. Gold would have laughed at how personally Green was taking this, but feared he would get a dusty broom to the face. Dust plus hangover was not a good combo, especially in the morning. Morty and Faulkner had cleared that one up very quickly, inhaling a shit ton of carpet dust due to their inability to walk on their own feet and legs, and had subsequently crashed to the ground in a tangle of limbs. Face first. Why is the carpet dusty?
It's a hotel that should be cleaned.
Yeah.
There's housekeeping. They should be cleaning it every night.
Well, if they want.
They should be
I
clean.
mean, they should clean it up themselves.
Well, I know, but like it should be clean, not dusty.
Yeah, it wouldn't be dusty. Gold had found the whole thing fucking hilarious, but soon sobered and went to help his bro up, totally leaving Faulkner to fend for himself because bros before hoes and stuff. And Faulkner was the biggest hoe he had ever seen. Slut shaming, bad. Green didn't understand bro speak and had wondered why the amber-eyed male was calling Faulkner a gardening tool. Green would know what a hoe is, and had reprimanded the raven-haired male on how bad it was to call people names. Morty was still too potted to even begin to explain it himself. Potted? Whatever.
It's a thing.
And Silver, in a moment of touching kindness, had tripped over nothing, the air, which was also fucking hilarious, to the struggling Faulkner, and curled up beside the brunette like a faithful pet, whilst the navy-haired archer coughed and spluttered curses at them as he pet Silver's knotted hair with the air of a small child who didn't know if it was better to tug or yank. Gold wrinkled his nose, and Green sent him another dirty look. Gold merely made a face back, and Green lifted the broom threateningly. Gold clicked his tongue and looked back at his task, a whine building in his throat.
But it's so boring.
Deal with it, Green hissed, his eyes burning slits. Gold sighed and looked back at his hands in dismay. Green was not any happier today than he had been last night, and Gold knew the psychologist was gearing up to give them one hell of a lecture later. True, they are illegal. They were illegally drinking.
That's true.
Illegally drink fucking in a...
Gold moaned through his killer hangover as he sat at the mahogany dining table with a glass of water perched on his thumbs. The cool glass was heavy on his thumbs, and Gold swore that this had to be the most torturous thing he'd ever done concerning his thumbs in his life. What? In fact, it was really making him appreciate said opposable appendages much more now that he had realized he could do such important things like balancing glasses of water on them and stuff. Gold almost...
Why are they so stupid?
Why are they talking... Why is the writing turning into like this like...
They're just idiots.
Late 1990s trying to be relatable to the youth. Like, this sounds like Buffy the Vampire... That sounds like a Buffy line. Like, I feel like Xander would be like, I really appreciate having opposable thumbs, because, like, I can do things, like bouncing
kind of more Willow, I think.
Stuff.
Maybe more Willow.
Oh, that is a very Willow thing. Opposable thumbs are so important. I saw her. They were playing American Pie in one of the dining halls, and I saw her, and I was like, Willow? They're showing Buffy? And then it showed the guy from American Pie, and I was like, oh, right, she filmed that in between seasons 3 and 4. That's why she has the hair. Okay. Got it. I was sincerely, like, ready to commit an afternoon to sitting in the dining halls to watch Buffy. Gold almost dropped his head with a defeated sigh, but refrained from doing so lest he upset his seemingly endless and impossible task. Red had come back last night as he obeyed Green's calls after surveying the damage before him, and agreed instantly to deal out all the punishments when they woke as of today. Green had then happily sent all four to bed, allowing Morty and Faulkner to the fold-out sofa bed in the thrashing living room for the night after they had cleared up all the dire messes and broken glass. Pikachu was totally sitting on his feet right now and licking his humongous balls.
Why is he licking his balls again? Every single fucking time.
Why does it matter?
Oh,
Why do we need to
need
know?
one thing to mention whenever the cat's brought up. Oh, he's obese. Oh, he's not obese anymore. What can we do? We'll have him lick his balls. Every
massive
humongous bollocks this time. Instead of testicles or balls or whatever the fuck they want.
With the air of much satisfaction and peace with the world. I hate Pikachu in this story.
Yeah. He's
Gold
pointless and I hate him.
Gold was rather jealous that the cat was getting it good whilst he was stuck balancing a fucking glass of water on his thumbs. Gold let out a suffering sigh. Suffering snorkel blast. Green sent him a look that suggested a spanking later.
He's not gonna spank him, what the fuck?
Gold and Silver are 19 years old. Like... Gold looked round the room. Faulkner was kneeling in the corner where he had hid with the potted plant and was quietly cursing out every single thing he swore was conspiring against him before helping Green clean up the suite. Morty was showering. Gold wanted to crack his neck badly, but found that if he did,
so is his
he could
punishment
potentially
to hold the
upset his
water?
glass of water. I'm guessing. I'm very confused.
And Faulkner has to sit in a corner and Morty's showering for some reason.
Now that they had all woken and were suffering the worst hangovers ever, Gold still felt like last night had been the best damn thing ever, not to mention the memory gods were shining down upon him and gifted him with total memories without any blanks. That's a lie. You think you remember everything, but you don't. Someone will tell you something you did and you'll be like, what? Because I have had nights where I'm like, I got it, I'm good, and then someone will be like, do you remember? And the answer is always a no. Which was a beautiful bonus because Silver Wanked was fucking adorable, forever emblazoned into his mind's eye. Also, when Drunk Silver was pretty hot as well. Silver was actually, as of now, curled up on the chair next to him, just showered and smelling of kiwi and wrapped in a fluffy robe. Silver suffered the most, his face screwed up lightly in a scowl of pain, his eyes tightly closed as the light just hurt too much. Red sat across from them with an enigmatic smile, twiddling his own thumbs, and Gold swore the scarlet-eyed male was mocking him. Green had given the awkward antisocial the task of punishing them all, and Gold had to admit he had been doubtful at first, but Red was downright cruel. This was so much harder than it looked, and he was still tired and his head was hurting like fuck. Green was still sleeping, but Red was not, giving out painkillers anytime soon.
Green
I thought Green was cleaning.
Cleaning and threatening with the broom.
What? In fact, he was just sitting on the Tylenol with such determination that the hawk-eyed male swore they were going to have to do a cavity search on the silent man in order to retrieve the medication. Gold mildly wondered if this was abuse. Yeah. It probably was a bit.
No.
But judging by the way Red was hiding a tiny smirk behind his sketchbook as he drew the scene before him, Gold knew that knew that this was downright violation of human rights and morals.
It's not.
Gold swore he was going to sue Red and possibly Green after this torture was over, accusing them of slave labor and
sitting there holding a glass of
breach
water.
of rights.
You don't have any rights.
Pikachu curled in a little more on himself as he continued to worship his furry testicles, like they were the last pair of testicles he'd ever see in the world.
What the fuck? Why?
No!
It's
Stop!
unnecessary.
This cat
Gross.
does not matter.
Yeah.
Don't tell me things I don't want to know about a character that doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Muffling another moan, Gold took a split moment to consider whether or not he was genuinely sober or not. The only time he seriously ever thought about filing lawsuits was when he happened to be intoxicated on some degree. Yet, this kind of punishment was Creative, to say the least, and plain wicked. He wasn't allowed to let this glass of water spill for over an hour. If he failed, he'd have to start all over again at the next hour or half hour. It didn't help that he had been roused at 5 a.m. in the morning to start, and he tipped the glass over 3 times. Apparently, he was getting the worst of the punishment because he had suggested the idea of mixing dares and spirits together. With 3 other rather hormonal young men with healthy sexual libidos. Gold hissed as he nearly overbalanced the glass again. It was unfair. Silver had just fully woken up, and it was 8 a.m., and Red believed the act of getting up and showered had been punishment enough for the redhead. He had to admit that, though, watching Silver get up had been a special treat. Certainly seeing as Silver rarely liked the mornings, he fucking hated them with a passion, and seeing the beautiful pale-skinned redhead get up with a hangover was really a thing of sheer beauty. It had been extreme. Does this chapter matter at all?
Nope.
I'm getting the vibes that it's a bunch of exposition that doesn't mean shit. It really had been. There just were no other words to put it. Silver, on a normal day, waking, would moan and insist on another 5 minutes, which was adorable, and ended up normally as a 30-minute full-blown groping session, complete with snogging and cuddling, which was, as a result, would often make them late for their respective jobs. Irresponsible!
Yeah.
You would be fired.
Yeah.
Your bosses would not be like, oh, you were having sex.
They're friends, so...
I would be pissed. I'd be like, you were fucking and you were late. Fuck on someone else's time because I was expecting you here.
Yeah, you can't be late to your job.
Like, you can't. I am friends with my bosses, or at least I like to think so, and if I showed up late and was like, oh, sorry, I was having sex, they'd be like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck? That's not okay. Like, straight up. Any boss you have, even if they were your friend, would be like, that's not okay. The end. Silver, waking on a shitty day after bad sleep or previous really shitty day, or if he was sick, would often curse out the nearest person and list everything he hated about them before apologizing and giving a consolation hug, which eventually led to a heavy groping session if said person happened to be named Gold Hunter. If it was a weekend, when he would wake up at his own pace and would often be ready to get up and would get up instantly, all smiles and possibly even a snog. Song. Sorry, I'm so used to them fucking.
Yeah.
Silver wasn't a bad singer at all. He just felt self-conscious whenever pressed to show his skills. But this version of Silver was just explosive with a hangover in the mornings. Kicking the pillows across the room, followed by a screech of horror. Gold liked to call this screech of horror Silver's squeal of angst. Which ended with the bed covers getting flung aside in an impressive sweep. Cursing out a stream of vulgarities that would have set the very air alight with flames hot enough to melt everything it touched within seconds, they were so foul. Silver had crawled out of their sweet bed and clawed his way to the bathroom, his hair a wild mess and knotted all over the place, and his eyes slit thinly to prevent the harsh morning sunshine of the obnoxious June summers of Sinnoh to blind him, and the slivers of molten mercury that was visible through his dark lashes, promising bloodshed if one dared approach him before his personal goals of looking presentable were disrupted. One sentence.
But then how is he curl up on the ground next to Faulkner with his hair all tangled?
He's not. They immediately retconned that within a paragraph.
Well, he did, but then he's not anymore, but this is earlier. Flashback.
Oh my god, this is so fucking stupid. I'm not sorry for saying that. This is really dumb. I'm actually very triggered by how stupid this is. Also, if they were as hungover as they are, I guarantee you they would have been woken up at 5 a.m. and they would have all thrown up.
Probably.
And it wouldn't be a cute throw up. It'd be like they're running to the bathroom, puking, possibly more than once in rapid succession.
Maybe not. People don't always throw up.
Okay.
You throw up.
I throw up. I was like,
I mean, I've never had a hangover.
Oh my god. Wait till you're 22.
I've only gotten, actually drunk 3 times.
I've heard that 22 is when it gets wild,
Apparently.
so... Morty's punishment.
I drink water.
You're gross and responsible.
Yeah.
Morty's punishment was he couldn't touch Faulkner for the rest of the day, or at least not until 6 p.m. That's not the rest of the day. And
it's evening at that point, so it's kind of the day.
The blonde had gone off to sulk. Red was scary when you defied his orders, and if you wanted to stay living, or with your balls intact, you listened to Red. The mechanical pencil he was currently drawing with was a valid tool for castration, or at least that's what Green had confirmed. On the other hand, out of the lot of them, Faulkner was faring quite well without his overtly sex-hungry boyfriend groping all over him. His punishment had been lines. Faulkner hated tedious tasks, especially things like reading and writing. Faulkner had told Silver before that one rarely found him reading at all. Reading was a nerd thing, something Morty would do, and that the navy-haired archer was most likely to be found practicing his chosen sport or playing video games or cooking. Faulkner adored inventing new recipes for them all to try. Thus, Red had set Faulkner masses of lines to write out as if he were in school detention. He had to write out the line, "I will not strip and hide butt naked by a potted plant," over and over, at least 20 pages double-sided of A4.
That would take literally like 7 hours.
Which meant Red was being an asshole, as he was doing 40 pages in total.
That's what double-sided means, yes.
And he had to write in black ink and fit the phrase 4 times on each time.
Line, maybe?
Damn.
So he has to write 40 pages of
4 times a line.
4 times per line. How many lines are on a page?
Count it up, my dude.
Is this A line? Is this A?
This is college ruled.
College rule?
A4, I assume, is college ruled. Blah, 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 blah. Red was checking. If he spotted one line that was less, Faulkner would have to start that page again. It was a hard task, seeing as the navy-haired archer had such little patience for such things, not to mention he was more
32, 33 if you write up there.
we're not going to count up there.
32 times...
4 times 40.
Times 4 times 40.
Here, I've got a calculator.
Uh,
Because I'm curious. Calculator.
128
times 4.
times 40.
5,120 times.
That would take literally hours upon hours.
Blah, blah, blah. It was a hard task, blah, blah, blah. Not to mention that he was more interested and concentrated on recalling the previous night. Silver had patchy memories, and Faulkner didn't remember much at all. All he remembered is there was booze and stripping and the bad touch involved. And that someone had a supremely gay phone ringtone. Gold, marginally offended.
The bad touch is the song, okay.
Yeah. Gold, marginally offended, had told the hungover archer that gay ringtone was his. Faulkner had laughed, but shut up after realizing laughing took too much effort, and in all aspects, it hurt his throbbing head like shit. "Am I done yet?" Gold whined. He had been nearly finished with this onerous task. Red glanced at the clock. 10 minutes. The scarlet-eyed man informed him. Faulkner had gone back to doing his lines now. He had been allowed breaks in which again, in Gold's opinion, was unfair.
It's going to take him till 6 p.m. to finish this. So why is that unfair?
Green breezed past, his hair immaculate as well as his clothes. The bag full of glass he held carefully in his hands. I thought he was still
I
sleeping.
thought they cleaned that up last night.
The hawk-eyed male growled in his throat. He had to get this done. Now. Staring hard at the glass as if willing to shatter it with his very mind, Gold waited and waited. His hard work paid off, and Red reached forwards to pick the glass off his poor, abused thumbs. Grinning dopily, Gold stretched and flexed his thumbs, feeling good now that he had completed his punishment. Morty was now presentable in his freshly laundered clothes, thanks to Green and his meticulous pet peeves. Faulkner was speeding through his lines, and Gold had never seen the archer look so dedicated to his cause. Silver was curled up, cursing. I don't care! I think I've realized why this chapter is just awful to me. I don't care.
Yeah, not really.
Silver was curled up, cursing out the world and how much he hated the brightness of all of it.
Hey, 2 lines. They all woke up with hangovers and got punished. The end.
Yawning, Morty said nothing as he slumped next to the stocky teen at the dining table before thumping his head down in perfect mimic of Silver, who was laying with his head resting in a hideously awkward position. Wondering if he should tell them to change into a more comfortable pose, Gold decided against it. Silver was vicious when tired, and Morty looked like he could kill with his eyes alone. Humming, Gold tilted himself back in his chair, gently closing his eyes and enjoying the quiet mornings as Green went about his business in a fairly quiet manner. The piece lasted a while, and Red's pencil scratching away on the paper as he sketched each of the semi-sober boys before him. Faulkner swore under his breath, and Silver groaned into the mahogany table, Morty copying him in perfect harmony as they vented out their hopeless situations vocally yet incoherently. Had he been more awake, Gold would have laughed at their pain, yet he was suffering the same thing and thus would have been self-defeating. "Silver," Gold pressed, and the redhead grunted in reply. How do you feel?
Total bullshit, Silver growled, his voice hoarse. How do you feel? Total bullshit. His voice hoarse and tight from the alcohol he had consumed the night before. Gold smirked.
Didn't even drink that much.
That was pretty much how the rest of them were feeling right now, except Red and Pikachu. Because in all reality, those two never actually gave any fucks.
Headache?
Yes.
Where?
Back and sides of my head, Silver muttered sullenly, and Gold, cracking his knuckles all together in a harsh, rippling, popping noise, slid his fingers through the glossy, dark red hair before finding Silver's scalp. The pads of his fingers massaging gentle circles into Silver's throbbing head.
Should work.
I mean, not really for headaches.
I was like, I don't think that works.
Sighing content and blissfully, Silver closed his eyes. I mean, it feels fine, but it doesn't actually do anything for the headache. It might feel nice, but yeah.
Yeah.
His shoulders immediately relaxed. Gold, surprised at how easily this had been, and just how many knots and kinks were present in the pale redhead's lithe back, began massaging his head. But now there are knots and kinks in his back, so he's massaging his back now.
Interesting.
There's a soft knock, and Green, after assuring the boys that if they misbehaved in the presence of strangers or guests, he would tear them a new one. After assuring them he would tear them a new one, that's the end of the sentence. Okay. Yet the visitors turned out to be Crystal and Blue, with Ruby peeking around their skirts. Green addressed them in the hallway, explaining the room was a mess, but Blue, having none of it, marched straight on in. But he's been cleaning since well, maybe he's been asleep for a while, I don't know. He's been cleaning. Gold got up off his chair and crouched down, allowing Ruby to run flying into his arms, giggling. Scooping the albino child up, Gold hugged him, and Ruby tugged on thick, wiry, unruly hair in a greeting. We would die if this was a drinking game.
Yeah.
Falconer glanced over and then back at his lines before throwing down his pencil and standing up rebelliously to join Morty, who was slouched over the table.
Just in case you're wondering about Lindsay's aside, we were talking before filming this, we were thinking about the last chapter and how they played a drinking game, and we were wondering how we could turn Clockwork into a drinking game, and we decided anytime they describe hair color, eye color, or describe Gold as strong or dominant or Silver as submissive or weak, we were going to take drinks, and she's right.
We'd die.
We would die. Hello, monster, Gold murmured as the pale child messed up his hair further.
I need to prepare for this voice.
Blue was currently hunched over Silver, petting his head, trying to get him to wake up. Wake up. From his deadened state, and Green was explaining to Crystal in hushed tones what had happened in the suite, casting the still four hungover males dirty, dirty looks. Ruby tugged on one of Gold's ears in astonishment. The hawk-eyed male hissed at the slight pain.
Hawkeye. Not a monster! The child pouted before tapping the strong, muscled shoulders before him, and Gold smiled, correcting himself before settling the child on his shoulders for a piggyback.
Of course you're not. You're Ruby.
Yes! And don't you ever forget it, you peasant! He also likes fashion or whatever he is.
Yeah, you fucking plebe. It's Ruby.
Ruby sniffed as he perched on Gold's strong shoulder, snorting out a laugh. Gold craned his neck to look up at the boy, who peered back down at him imperiously. Man, had school taught the albino some attitude or what? What? Get that aside, Gold was proud, though, that the physical differences of being an albino hadn't deterred Ruby at all from learning and making friends, and of course, gaining some serious attitude. They already said that, pretty much.
Who are you calling peasant, eh? Gold walked round the room as bit before pulling the boy down to tickle him. Ruby squirmed, giggling madly. His small white hands flailed as he tried to get the amber-eyed male to stop his attack. Soon after seeing he was tickling the boy into tears of laughter, Gold ceased before stepping back and sitting on his knees to let the small child clamber over him to poke at his lean, hard muscle in awe. Flexing slightly from moving to accommodate the small boy on his lap, Gold chuckled, patting the albino on his head affectionately as he stared some more at the smooth movement. One day, if you work hard, you can get stronger, Gold told him, and Ruby blinked, his pinkish red eyes wide with wonder. Excuse me. Do I have another? Okay. Explaining later is because he wanted to save Wally whenever he fell, because Wally was his princess and he had to learn how to kill dragons. Even kids are gay in fan fiction. I mean, not that I care. I love representation of...
Wally, Blue's actual kid?
I don't know who Wally is.
Wally was there earlier. He's the younger boy.
What?
He was in that party
I don't remember this.
when their New Year's party or whatever. Christmas?
Oh, they
Plus
were
Silver's
running.
birthday or whatever.
And Wally had nosebleeds on his white shirt.
yeah,
You're right.
Yeah, he's the one who gets excited and bleeds. Was he Blue's kid, like an actual kid, or was he someone else's kid?
No idea. Don't think it was mentioned.
I feel like Blue brought him.
I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Blue was now with Crystal and Green, watching them both on the floor with dewy eyes. Silver had moved to the sofa bed and was laying down on it, looking very much dead to the world. Yeah, you're hungover. That's standard. Pikachu padded over to Ruby and probably licked his testicles.
No, I guess not.
Pikachu padded over and Ruby shrank back at the sheer size of the cat. Gold had to admit Pikachu was rather intimidating as a solid muscular tank of a feline.
Tiger, whatever his name is. Star.
It's not real.
Claw, whatever his last.
Tiger Star. Tiger Star.
What was he before he became a star, though?
Tiger Claw.
It was Claw? That was
I
right.
believe
Huh.
so.
Nice.
Reaching out, Gold beckoned the cat to come, and Pikachu padded over to sit at his side, purring as he rubbed up against the tawny-eyed male. Ruby, somewhat spooked, peered round Gold's other side as he watched his big brother pet
So
the
this
rather
cat
large
is just
animal.
rubbing against him, purring, and that scares him somehow? He's not being a killing machine like he usually is.
He's not scary, Gold informed the boy, and Ruby wrinkled his nose as if unsure as Pikachu yawned, showing off rows of sharp white teeth. Red had come over now as well and was sitting on the floor watching his cat. Reaching out, Ruby touched Pikachu's handsome whiskered face quietly before retreating. Pikachu flicked an ear as if that was nothing and was demanding more stroking. Gold turned into Green's conversation with the two ladies as the psychologist seemed to forget all his animosity towards the four hungover boys. The trio seemed to be quietly arguing over something. We need to help with something.
Your help.
We need your help with something. The bride, she's nervous, Crystal said worriedly, and Green raised his eyebrows at the peppy woman in astonishment.
Well, that's perfectly normal. It's a life-changing event after all. Why can't you or Eugene go sit down with her? Eugene sit down with her. I'm a little bit busy with these boys. Green said boys as if the word physically disgusted him, and Crystal shrugged helplessly.
You remember Blue's voice, right? It was you.
Oh, she was soft-spoken, but I don't really remember.
She wasn't Southern Belle, but she was
No.
very soft.
Soft. She won't take my advice, telling me I've never gone through a big white wedding, which is true. Oh no, that's not. This is you.
Blue took over.
Later. For here. That's Eugene, she mentions. Getting
She
married.
won't take my advice, telling me I've never gone through a big white wedding, which is true. Eugene and I just signed some forms. Eugene and I just signed some forms. We never needed such a ceremony to know we love each other. Anyway, Eugene was too busy with the decorations department. He loves that sort of thing too much. Perhaps you could... So perhaps you could... Blue took over, her voice slightly pleading. Her deep blue eyes, however, held some degree of humor, as she knew her old therapist could help and would help.
Green's never been
Because
married.
he
How
was,
would
well
she-
and truly a total darling.
Please, Green. She's near hysterical, and you're the only one we can think to do it. Who we think can do it. If she thinks that Crystal can't help because she's never had a big white wedding, how could Green help? He's never been married.
Right?
He's a therapist, too, but...
He's
whatever.
been married.
Green ran a hand through his hair and sighed, torn between his job, his duty, and dealing with four naughty, semi-sober young men. Ladies, as flattering as that is, Oh, all right. Turning, he narrowed his verdant eyes, Green, in warning at Faulkner, who was lifting damp blonde bangs from Morty's wan face and staring goofily into his boyfriend's magenta eyes. Morty grunted and nosed Faulkner's gently. Silver, you're not supposed to be touching him, Morty. That's your punishment. Silver was passed out on the sofa bed, and Gold and Red were still introducing Ruby to Pikachu. You're all free to go, but I want you all back here by 5 p.m. in order for me to give you the lecture of your lives. And no running! I will find you. Green stared pointedly at Morty, who in return ignored him, sniffing in disdain. Green pinned Red with a silent order, and the scarlet-eyed male smiled lightly and nodded. Green then beckoned to the two women, and Ruby, after reaching up on tiptoe to kiss Gold on the cheek, ran, scampering after his foster mother. Rubbing his cheek, vaguely amused at Ruby's antics, Gold went over to Silver and slid his hands up his slender waist, cold now from resting them on the cool marble floor of the suite. The effect was electrifying. Silver jerked violently and whipped about, his hair pooling round him as he eyed up Gold with a mixture of horror and annoyance. "Touch me with your fucking cold hands again and you die," Silver growled. Gold saw this as a challenge and did so. With a hiss, Silver leapt on him, tugging him down onto the rumpled sheets to bite an angry kiss into his throat. Yelping, Gold drew back, reaching up to brush his fingers over the spot, alarmed when blood dashed his fingertips.
Holy fuck, Silver! Silver bared his teeth as he stared up at the hawk-eyed Bale.
"I told you, touch me, you die."
Yep.
Gold sighed, wiping his bloody fingers on his shorts before leaning down carefully to place a gentle kiss to the shell of Silver's ear. Silver yowled in anger, seriously not wanting his authority undermined. He didn't touch him with his hands that time. And any kind of bodily contact, even if it was the person he loved most.
Okay.
That he was still riding out on the awful headache and it made him pissy. That didn't make sense.
Whatever.
He just wanted to suffer quietly and alone, so go in the room or something. Gold, however, was not having any of it and held the redhead down physically, restraining him. Silver was so bipolar, Gold wanted to cry with despair.
Ah, yes. Bipolar disorder, an actual medical condition that people cannot help, is something that is just so terrible, isn't it? And,
Yeah,
like,
it's
when your
terrible.
boyfriend has bipolar, you want to be in despair. Like, no, if you, like, know someone and you're dating someone and you know they have bipolar disorder, like, you're gonna not...
Silver's not bipolar.
Like,
I mean, a little. But
like bipolar disorder is, like, a real thing,
Yeah.
is what I'm saying, and I feel like they're making light of it. You are such a bitch, Silver. Faulkner commented with a laugh, not a huge laugh, I'm so sorry, as he surfaced from staring googly and sappily into Morty's deadened gaze. Gold choked back on his own laugh as he let his lover up, knowing he would be left without balls if he did, and Silver... What is their obsession with balls? And Silver glared at him and was about to make some snappy retort when Faulkner cut over his almost rage. Gold was glad he did, otherwise he would have been subjected to painful verbal castration, leaving him with almost no pride left to speak of. Faulkner picked at his thumb cuticle as he spoke. "Want to vent out your anger on some targets? They have an archery range here. We can go now. Literally."
Isn't this a hotel? Why do they have an archery range?
Convenience of plot.
It's on an island, right? Or something?
It's an island hotel with convenience of plot.
Okay.
The navy-haired male looked so excited, and Silver shut his mouth and poked Gold in the nose instead, gave the offer some serious thought, though, before nodding. Faulkner grinned hugely before giving Morty a hearty ruffle through his mess of blonde hair, stood to stretch before beckoning to the redhead. Casting Gold a fleeting look, Silver seemed to go through a mental failure that softened his expression and bent down to swiftly press a kiss to the bite mark he had inflicted upon the golden-eyed teen. Drink.
Sorry, I get angry when people go against my wishes in the mornings, especially when I'm hungover. You have no experience with alcohol. How do you know what you would like when you're hungover?
It's okay, I was being a pest.
I know.
But I'm a lovable pest, right, Sil?
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are so sweet! Morty had surfaced in order...
Silva's still a stupid nickname.
It is terrible. In order to be nosy, and was looking over at them blearily, his tone half sarcastic and half genuine, and Gold flipped him off in a good-naturedly. All this flipping off is triggering me to my immortal. I saw some preps. I stuck out my finger at them. The blonde blinked as if he didn't understand what Gold meant by such a rude hand gesture. Gold stuck out his tongue impishly. Sorry, bro. Couldn't hear you over just how amazing I am. Morty returned the rude gesture and repeated it for good measure. You wish. Fuck, you're such a cunt bag, Gold.
What the fuck is
I swear if your ego wasn't as massive as your jackhammer of a penis, you'd be more tolerable. Why? There's no reason to mention his penis. And we've already established it's big.
I mean, they saw it yesterday.
That's a double... Okay. Any reference to the size of Gold's dick is a double shot.
I guess. There'd be that one sentence where it'd be 3 times.
3
in
double
one
shots.
sentence. Oh, God.
Gold rolled his eyes with a smirk evident on his lips and patted Silver gently on the thigh as the redhead stood, ready to go with Faulkner to shoot some arrows. Just dudes being bros. The archer
sit in a hot tub 5 feet away because they're not gay.
Because they're not gay. The archer was buzzing with energy now that he didn't have to do Red's punishment any longer and was looking forward to shooting some arrows with his best friend. Just guys being bros. It was something they hadn't done in a very long time.
I suppose.
Have fun! Excuse me. Morty mumbled as the two slid on their shoes. After bidding their respective partners goodbye, the two were gone. Morty looked at Red, who looked at Gold, who stared back at the two blankly. Now that the good ones are all gone, what the fuck do I do now? Morty muttered more to himself than anything. Gold reached over to the coffee table and grabbed the hotel guide and flipped through to sports, leisure, and recreation pages. Scanning them swiftly, Gold tossed it aside and looked at his two remaining company. Red coughed lightly, and in his ever-present monotone, Mini-Putt. Gold and Morty stared at him awestruck. Morty looked at Gold, who grinned. Dude, you're a fucking genius! Gold exclaimed, and Morty groaned. He hated Mini-Putt. He sucked at it. The angles and degrees on the tiny courses irked him, and he often got too frustrated to play till the end. However, Red was actually looking like he wanted to go play some goddamn mini-golf. Morty, still unimpressed, did not want to play. Convince me as to why I need to play such an infuriating, boring pastime of a game. Mini-golf is super fun, Morty, and you're being a bitch.
It is kind of fun, yeah.
I love mini-golf. I feel like we should, once I get a phone that records nicely, Rec Room Does Mini Golf would be a great one-off video.
Yeah.
The violet-eyed male asked dryly, and Gold smirked archly before responding without missing a beat. The winner gets to make the other two as bitches for the rest of the day.
Why would Morty want to play that? He sucks at it.
Right?
How would that convince him? I'm terrible at mini golf. Convince me. Winner gets to make the other two his bitches.
Can I point out that this chapter only took us like half an hour?
It was one of the shortest chapters
Holy
in a while.
shit.
And it was absolutely full of nothing.
I know. I'm so sorry. You got nothing out of this.
I mean, it's just a lot of stuff that was...
What should we title this?
Nothing happens.
Nothing happens, the chapter.
Or...
Part 56. I feel like just picking an obnoxious number. Clockwork. Part 45. Nothing happens, the chapter. Part 56. I feel like that can sum up all of the filler chapters in this fic.
Yeah, probably.
Anyways, thank you guys for tuning in. I know this wasn't very exciting, but it is a chapter of the fic, and the point is to read the fic in its entirety. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you liked the video, be sure to give it a like. Subscribe if you haven't already, because we have awesome new content that comes out every weekday on this channel. And yeah, if you have a fic you would like us to read after we finish this one, please leave it in the comments down below. If you want to just tell us we're cool, do that too.
Yeah.
I like to have my ego patted. I'm not gonna lie. Comments are really fun. I read them all, and then I tell them about them, because that's what I do. But yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and until next time, stay awesome, read more smut.
If there's something to respond to. We responded to every comment.
I like comments that I like, so if you get a like from Rec Room, it's probably because I liked what you said. I was like, good.
You should probably go do some ASMR for that one person.
Probs. Anywho, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we will see you next week with Chapter 55 of Clockwork.
That was weird.
Deuces.